On this week's episode of The Flop Factor, the playoff season is here. Postseason play underway. A lot of stuff to cover. 65-game rule. Cade and Luka are now eligible due to unfortunate circumstances, as the NBA says. Curry had a flurry. Stephen Curry is still Steph Curry. That's how we have to say that. And tonight, he has a chance to carry the Warriors into the playoffs. We will fill out a playoff bracket challenge and do solo round one picks, and we'll also pick the biggest storyline to watch this postseason. All on this week's episode of Flop Factor. That starts now. Hello and welcome to a postseason edition of the Flop Factor. A lot of stuff to cover today, so we'll get in very quickly. It's myself, your host, Cody Burton. Alongside me are the three co-hosts that are here almost every week when they're available. RJ Rice, DJ McDermott, and Brayden Laszlo. DJ is healthy once again, and Brayden's back in town. Always great to see the faces that we're used to seeing here, but it's a big-time episode. First, we're going to get started on something quick. The NBA and NBPA have ruled in favor for Luka Doncic and Cade Cunningham on their extraordinary circumstances challenge for the 65-game award rule, as both of them, Cade only played 63, Cunningham played, Doncic played 64. Doncic missed 2 games in December due to the birth of his child abroad, and Cade Cunningham had the collapsed lung, so that's considered extraordinary for sure. Also, Anthony Edwards filed the challenge, but his case was advanced to an independent arbitrator, but he was denied and is not eligible for awards. But Cade and Luka will at least be on the NBA, all NBA teams.
I think this is the right move. Applause to the NBA and the NBPA for getting this handled and figured out before the voting. Pretty sure I'm trying to figure out when's the award ceremony? Well, for MVP and everything else, I'm trying to think.
Awards ceremony. It's usually during the second round.
That's what it is.
It's usually during the second round when all that stuff is announced. All the NBA is usually like midway between the first and second. Since that's the same time all the finalists.
Well, the voting's like now, right?
Yeah.
I
can pull up the straw poll right now as we're talking.
Because I'm pretty sure they were talking about the voting range, and I mean you have to figure out if Luke and Cade are going to be on those ballots or not, because that can change that really drastically, especially that All NBA first team. So it's good to see that. You should see both of these guys all on the All-NBA first team. So good on the NBA and the NBPA for making this move. I mean, the 65-game, we kind of talked about it. It was either last week or 2 weeks ago. I mean, something has to get fixed with it, but at least you have this extraordinary circumstances clause or challenge, as they call it. And I think that's, in this case, used, as you said, Cody. I mean, Luka had to see the birth of his child. Family's bigger than basketball. Great move.
Yeah, I totally agree. And Cade's scenario with the collapsed lung, like, that's just one of the worst things that could happen, especially with the way he was playing and at the time that all went down. The Pistons ended up getting that 1 seed, however. But, I mean, this was a guy we were having a little bit of conversation about in the MVP case. So it's good to see that the NBA ruled him eligible for these awards. And Luka's stance, you said it best, family is bigger than basketball. That's something that any father doesn't want to miss. So congrats to him and congrats to Cade. It's an honor. You will definitely see these guys on some sort of NBA team.
Yeah, I remember when the Cade injury happened, there was a brief stint where we were talking, I think it was when Shea was injured and Jokic was injured, that Cade was the only one that was consistently playing at a healthy level, and he was the only one healthy consistently. And there was a conversation brought up that if Jokic and Shea weren't healthy, that Cade was going to get MVP strictly off the fact that he was going to be the only one eligible because he was the only one healthy playing that many games. And the fact that he ended up playing 64 games and then ended up getting hurt, and it was a collapsed lung, and that's just an unforeseen injury. There's just really nothing you can do about that. So I think it's good on that end. And obviously, Luka Doncic, you guys already covered it. Family over basketball is definitely the motto for this situation. And then just injuring his hamstring at the end of the season too. Especially, I mean, towards the end of the season, he was going off like 36 points per game, 8 assists, 8 rebounds per game. So I mean, it's just another injury that he played majority of the season. He played basically up to the amount of games that needed to be played for eligibility. But so I feel like it's a very good move, and I feel like it shows that this 65 game rule could have some leniency to it, and I feel like that's what it should. It should have some leniency to it in the future as well.
Yeah, definitely. And this is just a great decision by the NBA. And I think it's starting to make us just be a little bit further away from this 65 game rule because, in my opinion, for like an MVP or something like that, I understand it for those, but for like all NBA, it should be lower. It should be lower. There's no reason for this because, in my opinion, like minutes is a lot bigger than games played. Like, for example, I saw a stat where for like Victor Wembanyama, for example, was eligible even though he was coming off the bench for all that time with the injury, and he's played less like minutes played than like a Bruce Brown, for example, and Bruce Brown's not eligible for the award, which is very interesting. Well, Bruce Brown's a crazy example, but Bruce Brown played all 82 games, but because of like the weird like minutes requirement as well, he's not eligible for the award because he's not played enough games where he's played more than 20 minutes in that game. Obviously, Bruce Brown is not going to win any awards, but it's still always an interesting thing, especially whenever you get to like the all defensive team level of things. I know Lou Dort, for example, was playing the final 3 games of the season because he had to be play those games above 20 minutes to be eligible for all defensive consideration and all of that stuff. So it's always interesting when you see that way and from a scope like that because the teams, rookie teams especially, as the Kings rookie. What's his name? That center that was really good this year.
Maxime?
Yeah, Maxime. Reynaud.
Yes.
He is not eligible for any awards because he didn't play enough games at the beginning of the season above 20 minutes. So no rookie team for him, even though he was more than likely, if he was eligible, going to be an all-rookie first teamer, definitely a second teamer. But always interesting to look at it. But looking through, as we got into that conversation, the MVP vote tracker is up. One of my favorite Google Docs that there is. It's a sheet where it's available to everyone. It's been running since 2019, tracking every single media member's MVP vote. So far, 26 members have released, out of 100 expected, have released their votes. Currently, Shea has 21 first-place votes. Jokic has 4. Wembanyama has 1. Second place votes, Shea has 4, Jokic has 10, Wembanyama has 6. Third place votes, Shea has 0, Jokic has 7, Wembanyama has 10, Doncic has 1. Fourth place votes, Wembanyama has 1, Doncic has 11, Jaylen Brown has 2, and fifth place votes, Doncic has 1, Brown has 5, Cunningham has 5. So always fun to look at. There's also like some of these have sent in their ballots before like this happened. Like there's certain like eligibility adjustment keys in here now. No one did not consider Luka, but a couple of ringer guys, Bill Simmons, Kurt Goldsberry, Brian Geltzeller, Kurt Hine, Chris Broussard, Chris Mannix, and Dan Devine all included Luka under consideration, but not Cade due to eligibility. So always interesting to look at that. And it's always fun. There's a lot of... this tracks people who have said they have a ballot, but have not sent in their votes yet as well. So this is always a fun thing to look at. Rod Boone from the Charlotte Observer is a probable voter as well. You can also look at every other award if you get to the right sections of this Google Doc. One of my favorite ones I've ever clicked on. So shout out to that. But we're going to go on to another play-in game that we haven't got to cover yet because Wednesday night on Flop Factor Live, RJ and Brayden and myself all covered the first 3 of that insane play-in tournament. We have 2 more tonight that we will preview before going on to the Pick'em Challenge. But Golden State Warriors, LA Clippers, my goodness, what a game. Oh my. Stephen Curry, not even just Curry. Curry's been great this year, but that was truly turning back the clock. A 35-point performance, oldest point guard to ever score 35 or more points. speaking of turning back the clock, Draymond Green, what got into that guy? He locked down Kawhi Leonard, who had an incredible season the entire season. He scored 2 points, in the entire fourth quarter, guarded by Draymond Green. And down the stretch, Draymond Green was denying the ball in the passing lanes, pulling it back, getting that pods breakaway goaltending and one. Maybe it wasn't a foul, but it was a goaltend. Would have been 2 points regardless. He turned it to 3. But Draymond, I'll just break down his stats before we get into the game. 7 points, 6 rebounds, 9 assists, 4 steals. That's like he was looking like 2016 Draymond on defense for parts of that game. Porzingis was great, 20 points. Guy Santos had 20, and Stephen Curry was the man of the night, 35 points and 4 assists, making 7 3-pointers, even though there was an injury scare in the midway point of that game in the second quarter where he went back to the locker room. But it's Curry, man.
I mean, are we stunned? Am I going to act surprised? I mean, this is Steph Curry, people. He's arguably one of the greatest point guards of all time for a reason. But, Cody, you mentioned it. Draymond Green defensively and also his ability to dish out the ball with his 9 assists that he had in this playing game victory against the LA Clippers. So stuff like that is what gets you wins. And I think especially you mentioned Draymond's defense. That is going to be, I think, a lot of things that people talk about because guess what? Those defensive stops, they get you wins. I mean, it's simple. When also you're getting bench presence from Al Horford. Speaking of turning back the clock, Al Horford, man, dropping 14 off the bench, a huge shout-out to him. But you got Pods dropping 17. You got Porzingis and Santos dropping 20. You're getting established players, a mix of production. You're going to have a higher chance of winning games like that than just having Curry shoot a bunch of shots. Let's say he doesn't get 35, and then anybody else around him isn't going to be able to have any production. But this game was different. I give a lot of credit to Golden State. I think LA played a decent game. Even Benedict Mathurin, 23 points off the bench. He gets a huge shout-out for the Clippers. But I think really for Golden State, you have a team who has veteran production. You have guys like Curry and Green who've played together, who've won multiple championships together. That can make or break a game like this. You saw the veteran presence there. Curry, just that clutch factor is always still there, and especially I think he was hugging a fan or something towards one of the end of his final shots. I mean, he just knew the game was over. So incredible shout out to Golden State. They deserve this. Them against Phoenix will be very fun to watch.
Yeah, I totally agree. I think that I'm glad you mentioned it because championship pedigree in a game like this, a winner-go-home game, to keep your season alive. I mean, the Golden State Warriors have been in a spot like this before. Obviously, Steve Kerr, Draymond Green, and Steph Curry, multiple championships together. And then just trying to drag along these younger guys like Podemski. I mean, he's been a meme all season. He's scored anywhere from 0 to 30 points in X amount of games this year. I mean, it's been an up and down year for him for sure. But shout out to him. 40 minutes, 17 points. Not the most efficient shooter, but still able to contribute in this win. I do think that Draymond Green, that defense is always going to be with him regardless of how late in the career he gets. I think that's what his game has been built on since he's been in the NBA and in college at Michigan State. So just having a presence like that, taking out the opponent's best scorer, best playmaker, whatever. But the Clippers, they came out hot. I thought after that first quarter, it didn't really look the best. You had the Steph Curry injury scare with him going back to the locker room. It was kind of interesting. But shout out Golden State. That second half, especially that fourth quarter, the explosion with 43 points, Steph Curry just going nuclear. I mean, we're used to it at this point, but shout out to Golden State. And I do agree with you, RJ. That game tonight against Phoenix will be cinema.
Yeah, the Clippers had this game one through 3 quarters of basketball. They just lost the only quarter that mattered, and that was the fourth quarter. They went into the fourth quarter up by 6 points, and there was a point, I think it said it either had 8 minutes or 10 seconds left on the clock in the fourth quarter when I was watching the game, and the Clippers were up by 11, and it seemed like it was out of reach because it really seemed like the Warriors couldn't get anything going on. I think it was that brief stint where Curry was off the bench, where Curry was on the bench. All of a sudden, Curry comes back in the game. He hits two 3-pointers, and I mean, I know RJ said it before, but shout out Al Horford. He had 14 points, 4 3-pointers. All 4 of those 3-pointers were in the fourth quarter. By the way, just the clutch gene. I feel like that shows. I mean, he's one of those veteran playoff players that I feel like can step up big, and hopefully he steps up big tonight when they play the Suns. But in terms of the Clippers, man, it's really heartbreaking to see how far this team has come along from being 6-21 and ended up coming back to 42-40 and being in the play-in. I mean, I really thought they had a chance to. I thought they were one of the more hot teams coming into this play-in. I really think I really thought the Warriors didn't have a chance. I'm not shocked Steph Curry did good, but I knew he was banged up. I didn't know how well he would have shot, how well he would have played. But obviously Warriors came out in this one. But I mean, I guess anything can happen tonight against the Suns after watching that game against the Clippers. It was pure entertainment and a lot of older guys getting their shine back.
Yeah, and because of the Clippers' loss here, the Thunder now have the 11th best lottery odds in this NBA draft. I just did a tankathon sim and gave the Thunder the number 2 pick, selecting Cameron Boozer. Always fun to watch the lottery. But NBA draft lottery will be in the middle of the playoffs, mid-May, so there's a chance the Thunder will still be in contention, maybe even in the conference finals against the Spurs, and both teams will have lottery picks. But it'll always be fun to see what happens there. But this game was just watching Stephen Curry just completely take over in that, especially in that third quarter, and in the fourth quarter, it was that transition offense that the Warriors were creating with their defense that was really just evaporating the Clippers, and you could just see the look on Kawhi Leonard's face that he was just like, I'm lost out here. I mean, I'm in a box, and whenever the Clippers' entire story this season, especially after the James Harden trade, has been they don't really have a guy that they can count on consistently outside of Kawhi, as Garland dealt with injuries throughout the season. He had a solid 21 points. Brook Lopez was okay, but he was getting boxed by Al Horford down the stretch. And Al Horford knocked down, 3 big three-pointers in that fourth quarter. Yeah. And it was just like a full game that was like, what year is this? Brook Lopez versus Al Horford with Draymond Green playing elite defense on Kawhi Leonard? Is this like 2016? Is this 2015? Like, what's going on here? But it was amazing to watch these two of the older teams in the NBA, but always fun to see a play-in tournament. Just like that first round of play-in ends in the perfect way with 4, well, in my opinion, 3 world-class games, and then that Sixers Magic game was a pretty good game as well. But moving on, before we go to the next play-in games, I saw this report on Twitter. LeBron James has directly told sources close to him that he doesn't want a retirement tour, per Dan Wokey Sports and Sam Amick of The Athletic. As James has yet made a decision on his future, it remains a real possibility that he will retire on the conclusion of the 2025-26 season. LeBron James, never know what could happen there. This could be it for him after this playoffs, or he could have one more season. His contract is expiring.
It really all depends on what he wants to do. I mean, I think that's more obviously said, but when you really think about it deeper, and I mean, I know, yes, he's been able to play with Bronny Jr. Does he wait for his other son in Arizona to play? I doubt it, but considering the injuries to Luka, we don't know how exactly long he'll miss. I think Reeves is the entire first round regardless. It more depends on, does he think he wants to wait till everybody's healthy for one last final run on some one-year deal and not officially call it a retirement tour? Or if you're just like, you know what, I've accomplished everything I want, it's my time to sit down and watch the future take over. It'll be curious. It really depends on what he wants his legacy to be.
Yeah, I agree. I think that it honestly depends on how this playoff run goes, because you could see them lose round 1, but you could also see them give whoever wins between Thunder, Golden State, or Phoenix, probably the Thunder, but seeing if they put up a good fight and gives him hope to eventually either return to the Lakers, but we could also see him on another team next year, which is kind of interesting. I don't know if we will see that, but I don't know. I think that it all comes down to what he wants, as RJ said, and I think that if the time is right, I think he'll go out on his own condition.
Yeah, the fact that Bronny might be getting meaningful playoff minutes, and the fact that LeBron has basically been carrying this team ever since Luka's been out. He's been playing pretty good too. It's not like he's been playing at a bad level or a washed level. I mean, he's been playing good. He's been playing nowhere near like a 41-year-old should. But I mean, it's just it gets to a point. I know I'm going to shift to a bit of a YouTube golf here, but Bob Does Sports, when he was on that episode, I love Bob Does Sports, but LeBron played the other day, and they actually asked him about retirement and when they think, when the time is, and it's kind of just LeBron. He said there's no way to describe it, but it's basically just if you wake up and you just don't feel like it, and it's just every day. He said every day he wakes up and he's feeling cramps and he's doubtful for games, and he was joking about it and stuff like that. But in all seriousness, he said that it's just that one day you wake up and you don't feel like it, and I feel like it could happen this offseason. I mean, who knows if they lose to the Rockets, if they end up advancing, playing the Thunder, who knows? It could be after that. It could happen at any time. It could happen this offseason. He could wait, but it really just waits till that moment.
Yeah, definitely. And whatever happens, it'll just declare the end of an era. Just one of the more special times of a player's played in this association. Just 20 plus years of absolute greatness, never really showing any signs of going downhill. Like maybe this season's not been like the LeBron James we've been used to seeing, but still all-star level, still potentially all-NBA. And it's just going to be one of the great ones, hanging it up if he decides. But moving forward, NBA play-in. We talked about both of these teams. If you want to go back to Wednesday's episode /Flop Factor Live, Charlotte Hornets played one of the best games of all time against Miami Heat, just knocking down so many clutch shots between the two teams, and the Orlando Magic just continued to falter at the end of the season against the Philadelphia 76ers. And despite this being in Orlando, the Charlotte Hornets are favored by 3.5 points and have a 60% chance to win, according to ESPN's matchup predictor.
I mean, they should be. I mean, if I had to pick, it'd probably be Charlotte, just due to the fact of Charlotte coming off such a big game in their home house. I mean, you're having a lot of positive momentum. But if you look Orlando's way the other direction, we talked about Paulo a lot on Flop Factor Live on Wednesday. This Orlando team has just not played to the potential that they should be. And, I mean, it showed. And you have Charlotte having multiple high-level scorers. You have the top two guys in three-point field goals, and Con Caneppel and LaMelo Ball. Almost said Lonzo Ball. Trust me, nowhere even near. But I really think for Charlotte, this is your time now to make it fully into the playoffs. This is the opponent you probably wanted to face rather than Philadelphia. In my opinion, they match better against Orlando. But I tell you what, in this game, Charlotte needs to make threes at a higher percentage than they did against Miami to, I think, solidify this win.
Yeah, I totally agree. And I think just watching Orlando the past 2 seasons, obviously they've added Desmond Bane, but this offense is just not fluid at all. And running through one guy is not going to win you a win-or-go-home game. And for Charlotte, I totally agree. I think that you need to knock down more threes consistently throughout the game instead of just exploding in fourth quarter and overtime. You could have easily lost that game against Miami, but I do think Charlotte will win this game, and I do think that if Orlando doesn't figure some things out, we're going to have a lot of questions about that core there down in South or Central Florida. I just don't think that this core has been living up to the hype, as you said, RJ, and they're going to have to figure out where to go from here if they do lose this game tonight.
Yeah, the fact that Orlando is technically the higher seed and it's in Orlando and Charlotte is still projected to win should say a lot about both of these teams. I know all of us are disappointed in the Magic. We all had high expectations of the Magic. We all had them pretty high in our Eastern Conference predictions in the beginning of the season, and there was just nothing. No ends were met with the Orlando Magic. But for the Charlotte Hornets, I mean, I know we've talked about him a lot here. Con Caneppel, he needs to step up this game. Last game, he played 34 minutes. He only had 6 points on 2 of 12 shooting, and it goes back to that point that you guys were making about the three-pointers. He was 0 for 6 from three-pointers, and that was what he lived off of this year. That is why he might win Rookie of the Year. I mean, he will need to step up. Luckily, somebody else stepped up in his place. Kobe White decided to go nuclear, 26 minutes off the bench, 19 points, 7 made baskets, 5 of them being three-pointers. I mean, that's somebody that you're going to need to look towards too tonight. Miles Bridges, I knew he had a good game. I didn't realize he had 28 though. Good for him. I mean, he's been pretty consistent throughout the year. Shout out fantasy team, third place. But I feel like the Hornets will take this one, and I feel like the Magic will have a lot of organizational questions coming into next season.
Yeah, and I think one thing about the Hornets and why they were favored in this game is that they were able to win a game they were not supposed to win in the last game. They literally played the way that the Heat wanted them to. Colin Knippel, LaMelo Ball, two of the highest two of the leaders in three-pointers made throughout the entire season in the NBA were both shooting poorly from downtown. Colin Knippel did not even knock one down. LaMelo Ball at least hit a couple and was great driving to the paint. But Brandon Miller, Miles Bridges, and Moussa Diabate really stepped up. Moussa Diabate was winning them free possession after free possession on the offensive glass and was instrumental in that. And unfortunately for the Hornets, he's currently a game-time decision with a hip injury, so hopefully he can step in so we can have both of these teams at full health again in this high-stakes environment. Charlotte looking to make the NBA playoffs for the first time since 2016 with an incredible late-season push to get into this position that they're in now. Moving forward, Warriors-Suns. The Suns choked away a game against the Portland Trailblazers in their last game. The Golden State Warriors came from behind to defeat the Los Angeles Clippers in their last game. Big time atmosphere here in Phoenix. The Suns trying to complete what not a lot of people expected coming into the season. After trading Kevin Durant, nobody expected the Suns to be in a playoff contention, let alone they were the 7th seed, the team with the highest percent chance of making the postseason going into the Western Conference play-in. And the Golden State Warriors, on the other end, a team that people expected to be seeded in the playoffs already at this point in the season, but injuries and other things have made them not be in that position. And they're trying to sneak their way in on a Cinderella run of sorts and what Steve Kerr himself likes to consider a dying dynasty.
Yeah, I think this game for Golden State is more important future-wise than Phoenix's. If you look at Golden State's, like you just mentioned, Cody, with the dynasty falling in some people's eyes, I think the main impact of this game will be the distribution of scoring. You can't just be one guy for Golden State being Steph Curry and then for Phoenix. Most likely ended up being Devin Booker, but we'll have to wait and see how this matchup goes. I really think if you get that Draymond level defense he was showing in the last play-in game, like that, almost next to his younger years, I think Golden State has a good chance to win, but I just don't see that happening twice in a row. You can't strike that lightning in a bottle twice. It's going to be close. I think if Phoenix, home court advantage here is huge. You got to get your fans active, and that place needs to be packed, but also for Phoenix, Devin Booker needs to have some production. He needs to have one of those big games, send Phoenix to the playoffs, because if not, they might not win.
Yeah, I honestly think that Golden State will win, but one thing I do want to see from the Phoenix Suns in this game tonight is Jalen Green just not shooting the ball close to 40 times. I think that if that happens again, that's a recipe for disaster against Golden State. And obviously we need, for Golden State, another big game from Steph Curry. I just don't think that Phoenix has the firepower, per se, to hang with Steph Curry, especially when he's in that, what do you call it, like a zone. So I don't think Phoenix will win, but I do think it will be a close and competitive game.
I think Phoenix should win, and I think they will end up winning. But looking at this box score, I just see some really frustrating trends from their last game against the Blazers. Obviously, we're talking about, hey, let's hold Steph Curry. Let's not let him get hot. Denny Avdia last game had 41 points, and he was very consistent on 15 for 22 shooting. He only had 7 misses. He went 15 for 22, 5 of them being three-pointers. And my biggest thing from the Suns that I want to see tonight is some bench production. There was no bench production there was, 10? There was 17 points off the bench last game for the Suns, with their leading scorer being Royce O'Neal with 7 points. I feel like people like Colin Gillespie need to step up. I know I had him in my fantasy lineup a couple times during the year. Mark Williams, he only had 4 points, and it's not like he did good on the boards either. He only had 4 rebounds too. He only played 22 minutes, but still, there needs to be a bit more production there. But I totally agree with you guys. I feel like Devin Booker needs to have a really good day. But I disagree about the Jalen Green take. I feel like 14 for 29, it's right around 50% shooting. I mean, he didn't do that bad. I feel like he did take over the games at some points. I feel like he did take some bad shots, especially towards the end. A lot of those good shots that he took were earlier in the game, but a lot of those misses came in the fourth quarter, which is where you kind of need to have those makes. Now, 29 shots, maybe a little outrageous. If he gets over that 30 mark, that's where there starts to become questions. But if you have the hot hand, you're scoring 35 points in 39 minutes, I feel like you need to keep shooting. But for the Sun, I feel like it's just bench production. Devin Booker needs to get some production going. Mark Williams needs to be on the boards more, and you just can't let Steph Curry get hot like you let Denny Avdia do to you a couple days ago.
Yeah, definitely. And one thing about the Suns that they need to try to not let happen is that the Blazers did an exceptional job forcing the ball away from Devin Booker, turning him to more of a playmaker and saying, okay, if Jalen Green beats us, Jalen Green beats us. And he almost did. He almost beat you. But the Suns are going to have to find a way to get Devin Booker going, get him to find open looks, whether it's Colin Gillespie stepping up and playing better than he did in the last game. Maybe use Jalen Green more of a playmaker at times, because you're going to have to let your All-NBA level player get going early and often. You can't have him only getting his higher level of usage once it's down to the fourth quarter, because that's when things can start to get rough. And the Warriors are a smart veteran team. They will try to do the same exact thing that the young team in Portland did exceptionally well, because that's how teams adjust. You're going to have to be able to adjust. You're a young, inexperienced team outside of Booker and Brooks, but you're going to have to try to step up at the right time. And that's it for play-in coverage, but we'll get to the fun part. The bracket challenge is right back and up here in the NBA website. NBA Pick'ems. We're going to start. Go ahead and just do the 1 versus 8 in the Western Conference. Thunder versus Warriors or Suns. First, I'm just going to say it. I think if it's the Warriors, Thunder in 5, Suns, Thunder in 4.
Yeah, I'd agree with that also. I'm going probably Thunder in 5. I'm going to assume Golden State might maybe get out of it. But if it ends up being Phoenix, probably go 4 as well.
Yeah, I'm going to go Thunder in 5 over Golden State.
I'm going to go Thunder in 4 over Suns.
All right, I'm just going to do Thunder to win 5 games. There we go. Lakers, Rockets. This is what's the hardest one for me to pick. Lakers, it's LeBron James, but they lost in the first round last year, and the Rockets are a very, very questionable team. But I'm thinking it's going to be a second straight first-round exit for the Houston Rockets in 7 games, with the Lakers winning in 7.
This is, I agree, Cody, probably the hardest matchup to pick. 2 very inconsistent teams. Well, considering the injuries with LA, 2 very inconsistent teams. Can LeBron do it all? I don't think so. I think Houston gets this done in 6.
I'm going to go Lakers in 6.
RJ, I really like the Rockets in 6. I was going to say that off rip, and when RJ said it, I totally agree. Rockets in 6.
All right. That makes it very hard, because we had
Should we text Connor Roberts right now and see what he has to say?
Connor Roberts. I think since we're all filling out our own things, so I'm just gonna pick what I think for this one.
That's fair.
But yeah, okay. Nuggets, Timberwolves. This one here is difficult because the Timberwolves have beat the Nuggets the last 2 times they faced off in the playoffs. But I don't think that's the case this year. I'm thinking Nuggets in 6.
I agree. I was going to go probably Nuggets in 6. Minnesota deserves a lot of credit, though.
I'm going to go Nuggets in 5.
Yeah, I'll go Nuggets in 6.
All right. That one's a lot easier. Spurs, Trailblazers. Very young team for both inexperience when it comes to the playoffs in terms of the full teams. But Spurs are much more better when it comes to the firepower. I'm going Spurs in 5, a little bit of a challenging game 3 in Portland.
I'll go bold. I'll go Spurs sweep.
Yeah, I'm going to go Spurs sweep as well.
I think this is the perfect series for a young Spurs team to get acclimated to playoffs, but I agree. I feel like the Trailblazers are going to steal one along the way. I feel like the Spurs are going to get off to a hot start. I like the game. I like that game 3 shout. I think Spurs in 5 is a good shout.
All right. Eastern Conference time. Pistons against the Magic or Hornets. I think if the short Hornets won, I feel like that it's gonna be the same style where it's like younger team in a hostile environment. Game 3, Charlotte atmosphere pulls them over. Pistons in 5.
If this opponent ends up being the Orlando Magic, I'd go a Pistons sweep. If it's the Hornets, probably give them an extra game or two, but I'd probably say Pistons in 5.
I'm going to go Pistons in 6. I think that Charlotte takes both at home. I think that home court advantage is something electric because these fans have been waiting for a playoff appearance.
If it's Charlotte, I don't know. I like Pistons in 7. I think Charlotte can give them a run for their money. I don't know. I have a really bold prediction on that, but that's just. But if it's Orlando, then I have them as a sweep. I think it's two different extremes.
I'll meet it in the middle and just do Pistons in 5 since we had one sweep and then because the game's not decided yet.
That's fair.
Yeah, that's fine.
Cavaliers Raptors. This one's 2 Cavs fans in here. This Raptors team is going to be it's an interesting one. They have a lot of wings, and they've been very underrated across the year. But I think it'll be a nice Cavs away win in the 6th game to go to the next round of 6.
Yeah, I agree. Cavs in 6. They're probably going to drop 2 games they shouldn't. And Emmanuel quickly is questionable for game 1. I think that could be a big impact if he is out. But I think the Cavs will probably drop a game or 2 and go Cavs in 6.
I like Cavs in 6. I don't like the way the Raptors finished the season per se, but I do think the Cavs are coming into the playoffs fully healthy. So I do like that. Yeah, it is first.
I'll go Cavs in 6. I'll stick to it. I think the Raptors have been playing really good though. Shout out Brandon Ingram. He's been playing pretty good.
Here's a fun one. A straight sweep there. All Cavs in 6, guys. Here's a fun one, though. New York City Mayor Zoran Mamdani talked about Trae Young the other day. Trae Young's not the Hawks anymore, but it's still the same Hawks. That's one thing. He was blaming the ticket prices on Trae Young, but it was always his fault. But 2 teams that have always clashed heads in the playoffs. No Trae Young anymore, as I said, but Knicks Hawks, new look Hawks team. Nikhil Alexander-Walker is the most improved player, and alongside him another candidate, the most improved player, Jalen Johnson. 2 guys that's been leading the charge against the Knicks, who are one of the teams that very well could be in the NBA Finals come June.
It's the same Hawks storyline, but it's a different team. I'm going Hawks in 7.
Ooh. I'm going to go Knicks in 6. I do think that this team is very talented, and I hope they turn it up a notch, especially tomorrow.
I was going to say Knicks in 6 as well. That was my thought process.
I guess I'm the deciding vote. I'm going to go Knicks in 7. I think it's going to be a 7-game series, but MSG atmosphere doesn't allow the Hawks to go home as upset winners on an incredible end of the season that they had. But yeah. Great series. There's been great series this year. And here's another one. These teams always end up playing in the playoffs, but it's always fun because it's such a historic rivalry. Celtics, Sixers, 2 versus 7. If only Embiid was playing, this would be a lot more fun, but I'll go Celtics in 5.
Yeah, I was probably going to say Celtics in 6 if Embiid was healthy, but he will be at least out game 1, and it's kind of undetermined, so I will go Celtics in 5 as well.
I'll go Celtics in 5. I like that a lot.
76ers haven't won a series against the Celtics since 1982, I read today. So I'm going to take the Celtics here, but it always is a good series. And really, the Celtics should sweep, but I think the Sixers are going to steal 2 games just because of the fact that it's such a historic series, such a historic rivalry. So I'll also take Celtics in 6.
All right. Yeah, that's very, very fun series, I feel like. I think this will be one of those Paul George playoff series successes, in my opinion. I think it'll be a fun series, and both these teams will be competitive. I think in my opinion, it'll be a very competitive 5-game series. But Thunder Lakers. A lot of people had Rockets here, so either way, I'm going to pick last here, but this will be a fun series no matter who plays. I feel like the storyline, if it's Rockets, would be a lot more fun than if it's Lakers, just because of Kevin Durant versus the Thunder in a playoff series. That has a lot of storylines to it, but Thunder Lakers, Luka Doncic plays if he's back. plays the Thunder in the second round for the second time in 2 years.
Yeah,
3
I would
years.
assume in this scenario of the Lakers making it that Luka and Reeves are both back. I'd go Thunder in 6. The Lakers keep it competitive, but the Thunder are just too good.
I'm going to go Thunder in 5. I don't think it matters who wins this series. I just think they're too talented.
If the Lakers come back, I can see it being Lakers in 6. Or I'm sorry, Thunder in 6.
Whoa.
I meant Thunder in 6. I meant Thunder. I was looking at the Lakers logo when I said that. I meant Thunder in 6. I had the Rockets, but if this situation does pan out, I have Thunder in 6.
Okay. I'm going Thunder in 5 if it's the Lakers, Thunder in 6 if it's the Rockets. Just because the Rockets match with the Thunder much better than the Lakers do. And the Thunder dominated the Lakers in every single outing except for one where half the team was injured. So I'll go Thunder in 5. So overall, I think we equalize at Thunder in 6. But on the other end, the other Western Conference semifinal, Nuggets Spurs. This is one of the more contested series is on here. Both teams within 10% of each other.
I'll say Spurs in 7, and the reason why it's 7 and not 6 is because Denver has, I would say, a lot more playoff veteran experience, and I think that gets them at least a game. So Spurs in 7.
I'm going to go Spurs in 7. This was the one I was struggling with the most just because of the playoff pedigree the Nuggets have. I don't know about very well, but I could see the Nuggets winning this, but I do think the Spurs have the overall more talent to win this series.
I was gonna say Spurs in 7 as well. I was gonna if the Spurs played the Nuggets in the first round, I'd be completely honest as a Spurs fan. I feel like that the Nuggets would win it, but I feel like a series to get your feet wet, to put your feet in the water, and play a young team like the Trail. Not putting on the Trailblazers in any means, but they are also a very young team. But I feel like playing a team like the Trailblazers, getting your feet wet, and then playing the Nuggets. I mean, the Nuggets and Spurs played 2 times very late in the season where seeding was basically already set for the Spurs. And they weren't. I think there was a game that Victor did play and Victor didn't play. And I'm pretty sure the Nuggets won one or both of those games. So I'm excited to see what the Spurs will do when they actually do play everybody, when both teams are fully healthy. But I feel like the Spurs do come out in 7.
Yeah, and I feel this is very similar to the Nuggets Thunder series last year, where the Nuggets will look like very well last year. The Nuggets could have won that series. It literally took 3 fourth quarter threes from Lou Dort in Game 5 from them not winning that series whenever they were down 11 points. But I think it'll be Spurs in 7. I think the Spurs will power through a much closer Game 7 than what that series I was talking about last year was, but I think this will be one of the series of the year, and the Spurs power through in 7 games. Now, on the Eastern Conference side of things, Pistons Cavaliers, very interesting. I'll actually say me and DJ will go first, and I'll leave it to the other two. For this one, I have Cavs in 7.
I have Pistons in 6. I don't know. I was hesitant on Cavaliers Raptors. I think I'm gonna take it. I think the Pistons. Like I said, I predicted that they were gonna have a tough time against the Hornets. I think they're gonna bounce back from that and have an easier time against the Cavs.
You want me to go first?
Yeah.
I have the Cavs in 7. Now, if you asked me this earlier in the year, before the 2 really close back-to-back matchups that the Cavs and the Pistons did have, I would probably say Pistons in 6, but Harden's ability as a scorer and a facilitator and what we've seen from him this season, I have to go Cavs in 7. They matched up very, very close. You could go either team here. I hope this is a 7-game series if the Cavs make it out of the first round against the Raptors and the Pistons make it out of their first-round matchup. This will be probably my circle matchup in the East of whoever wins this has a really good shot to make it to the finals.
Yeah, I'm also going to go Cavs in 7. I just think, as you mentioned with James Harden, but also the health. I mean, it's only benefited the Cavs, in my opinion, with all the injuries throughout the season because you had a bunch of younger guys and guys who don't usually get minutes like that get minutes. So when their number's called, it's not going to be something new to them. And I think for the Pistons, they've kind of just coasted down the stretch. I think that we don't really know the status of what Cade can really, really bring in the playoffs after this injury. So I'm excited to see their first round matchup, see how he plays, and then if the Cavs do make it here, I think this is going to be one of the best matchups in the playoffs.
Yeah, and so we have the Cavs going to Eastern Conference Finals. Very interesting there. But Eastern Conference Semifinal 2, a rematch of last year. Knicks, Celtics, the Knicks ones last year. Will happen again? I don't know. I personally have Knicks in 7. This is one that I was very conflicted between. The Celtics are an incredible team, but I just don't like. This is so difficult because they've been incredible this entire season, but I really like this Knicks team, and I feel like they're built for the postseason. So I have them winning at 7.
This is the Knicks' year to do it, I think. But for me, it's still very hard because I have this series going in 7. For a Boston home environment, I feel like something from the Knicks will kind of mess up because of that environment. And with that, I'm going with the Celtics in 7. I trust the Celtics more in this situation than I do the Knicks.
I don't know. I'm going Celtics in 6. I just think that this team has been so electric with Jason Tatum coming back, and Jaylen Brown has just been playing on another level this season. And having those two in the playoffs again, I can't pick against them.
I wanted Knicks in 6. That was my thought process. I was thinking Knicks in 6. I think RJ, you said that this is the Knicks' year to have success. I mean, I don't. That was my heart set pick. That's what I had.
Was this 3-1 or 2-2?
I had 2-2.
2-2.
Because both of us had.
You know what? I'll flip a coin. I'll flip a coin.
Heads or tails.
Okay.
Yeah, I mean, it's one of the more conflicting matchups because for New York, if you don't make it out of either the first or second rounds this year, you have a lot of conversations.
Okay, so let's do Knicks, heads, tails, Celtics.
It's heads.
New York Knicks.
The Knicks.
I mean, I could see
Conference
either
Finals.
team winning
Yeah,
this.
that's the worst part about it. You can see either side.
Yeah. Okay, here's the one. I'll let RJ and Brayden go before me and DJ.
This is the
Thunder
battle.
Spurs. Thunder Spurs.
This is the battle.
This is the
here.
one this is if Adam Silver would pick a hat between two teams he would love to see go in the Western Conference Finals, it's these two teams. Wembanyama, the future potential face of the NBA. Shai Gilgeous-Alexander, likely going to be the reigning 2-time MVP, looking to win his second straight Western Conference Finals MVP and making it to the finals again.
This one is much worse to pick than Knicks Celtics. I honestly, I'd have to flip a coin for my choice, but I'm going to go with Thunder in 7. I trust them more in the Western Conference Finals. They have been the number 1 team for a reason, and for that, I have to stick with them. Even though on Flop Factor Live, I may have said that the Spurs could be the champions, but I have a change of heart.
Oh my god.
I'm also going Thunder in 7. This series is going to be so competitive. I just think that this is the matchup everybody wants to see in the playoffs. I mean, the finals is kind of second hand, in my opinion, to this matchup if we do end up getting it. And the Thunder have just grown, and adding pieces like Jared McCain throughout the season, like their depth is unmatched in this league, and I think that it's going to propel them to a second straight finals.
I wonder what DJ's pick's going to be.
I have Spurs in 7. No matter what.
I mean, that's respectable.
That's fair.
That's. I mean,
like all of us are between this.
I mean, it's just I'm just thinking more and more when you guys said that. I'm just thinking more and more of the in season series between the Thunder and the Spurs. Spurs 4-1, by the way, and I understand Thunder were injured during some points. Spurs were injured during some points, but you can only make so many excuses when it gets to this point, and it's just I'm thinking of watching those games where there aren't that many injuries and it is fully healthy, and I'm thinking especially during the NBA Cup when Wemby was coming off the bench and the Spurs still dominated. I'm thinking it could be a real good series. I'm thinking it could go either way, but San Antonio would be ready to host those 3 games. I mean, San Antonio is ready to host some playoff games. It's been 8 years. I'm sticking with Spurs in 7. I think the only thing that'll kill him was playoff inexperience. I guess we'll see though.
Yeah. And the Thunder SI roundtable that's about to release, I do say the Thunder will beat the San Antonio Spurs in 6 games in that Western Conference final. I think it'll be each team wins their home games to start the series, and the Thunder steal one on the road in Game 6. And personally, the reason why is because of how I have the Spurs Nuggets series going 7 games, and the Thunder Lakers series more likely to me going to 5 games. I think the Thunder will be a lot more rested, and in the games that both teams were healthy, it was 1-1. And that includes the Wemby game, so I consider they were fully healthy outside of Wemby, and they won that game, so they deserve to have that. And the game that the Thunder won, the lone game, was they had everyone except for J-Dub. So J-Dub only played that one game in the NBA Cup in this thing. But it's just such a hard series to pick, in my opinion, because of both of the in-season series. But I think just being there before and doing all of this again, and the fact that we haven't really seen the Spurs in this position once again. There's been so many great battles through the years between the Spurs and Thunder in the playoffs. 2016, the most recent between the two, and the Thunder miraculously somehow beating that incredible Spurs team, and then ended up losing and blowing a 3-1 lead in the Western Conference Finals anyways to the Warriors. But it was just so difficult to pick, but give me the reigning champs, and I guess that's who wins the tiebreaker in that one. Now moving further, Eastern Conference Finals. This is a very interesting Eastern Conference Finals. We have Cavaliers versus Knicks. I'll go first. I have the Knicks going to the finals this season. I have the Knicks winning in 7 games.
You were a little bit more gracious than I am. Watching these Cavs versus the New York Knicks, especially Christmas Day, was probably the most infuriated I've been all season watching an NBA game, just because the Cavs you have the lead, you look so good the entire game, but you blow it in the final 5 minutes. They're going to have at least 1 or 2 of those games. I have the Knicks winning in 6 games. I do not trust this Cavs team past the semifinals if they make it past. I mean, they haven't been there before. I mean, you have James Harden. He's at least had that experience of making it this far in the postseason. But it's going to come down to that bench experience for the Knicks is arguably better than the Cavs. And for that, I have to go Knicks in 6.
Yeah, I think regardless of who wins Knicks-Celtics, I personally have Celtics beating the Cavs, but I do think the Knicks could also do that as well. And I have them in 6 games as well.
Knicks in 6. I totally agree. Not much else to say.
Yeah, before we go, this is actually the same exact NBA Finals we had on Wednesday's sports night last year. We had
really?
Thunder. Actually, funny
Thunder
enough,
Cavs, I thought. Was it?
no, it was Thunder Knicks.
Oh,
We had Cavs second round exits against the Pacers. Like funny enough.
No way.
Our
Actually,
no, I'm being
yeah.
serious. Our bracket was top 90 percentile last year.
jeez.
It was
were
actually
ball
crazy
knowers.
how insane it was because
Wow.
we had the exact same Eastern Conference Finals and Western Conference Finals. It's just we had the winner of the Eastern Conference Finals wrong.
Wow.
So,
That's nuts.
but Thunder Knicks, I personally have in the same exact thing. I have the Thunder winning in 5 games. Mainly because if this is the matchup for the Thunder, if they want to have it, since the Thunder beat the Knicks both times in the regular season. The first game, the Thunder were injured and the Knicks were fully healthy in MSG, outside of Miles McBride, of course, but who we have no idea will play in the playoffs or not after his getting injured again. And won by 3 points. At home, the Thunder won by 10 points, still not fully healthy. And I have the Thunder winning in 5.
Yeah, I have the Thunder in 6. I mean, pretty similar reasoning for Oklahoma City. I mean, you're too overpowered. I honestly think whoever makes it out of the West will win the NBA Finals. I mean, I've said that for a little bit, and I still hold true to that. And if it is the Thunder like it is in our bracket challenge, I'm going to go Thunder in 6.
I'll go Thunder in 5. I just think that the matchup's a nightmare for New York. I mean, a fully healthy Thunder team versus the Knicks is just unfair.
Yeah, Thunder in 6. I think the Knicks can steal 2 games here, but I think they'll be too depleted towards that end of the series to even compete.
I'm interested to see would you have Spurs in 6 as well?
Against the Knicks.
Yeah.
I think I don't know.
That's where you should go 7.
I don't know. I think it'd be closer. I
Yeah.
think the Spurs would.
Yeah, since that's a weird matchup, since like the Knicks have like
I also think the Spurs would be so tired
spacing.
up to that point.
Yeah, they've
that
back-to-back 7 games.
If they would, just a lot would have to happen. They would need to steal those first 2 games in San Antonio, and then we'd have to have another conversation.
Yeah.
I feel like that'd be a totally different scenario.
Yeah, but well, let's just do how many total points will score in Game 1 of the NBA Finals. Let's do 207.
Sure.
For that. All right. Last year it was what was last year? It was 105, 104 Pacers. So it was that's about the same.
209.
Yeah, it was 209 last year. So that's our thing. Let's see if we have the same luck as we did last year. Whatever happens in the West, in my opinion, will be the main story. But the East is wide open this year. Anything can happen. I can quite literally see any team 1 through 6 making the NBA Finals in the East this year. That's how open it is. I mean, last year was the same story. Last year, what was Pacers are 5 seed, right?
I think.
Yeah, I think it was.
Who was the 1? Was it Boston?
1 was Boston.
I think.
Yeah, and then it was 3-6 was Cavs.
It wasn't Magic. No, it was the year before.
The 2 seed was Cavs. Or was Cavs the 1 seed?
Cavs were the one.
Cavs were the
we
1,
were the
and then
1.
4-5 was Pacers
right.
Bucks. 3-6 was Knicks and Magic, and then 2-7 was Celtics Magic. Who did the Knicks play?
It was not. Oh my
The
goodness.
Cavs played the Heat. I don't remember. What seed were the Knicks?
3.
Dude.
So the same seed. Why do I not remember that? Philadelphia. I'm pretty sure it's Philadelphia. Don't quote me entirely.
Oh, it was the Pistons.
Oh.
Yeah, the Sixers were top 3 pick.
Oh, that's right.
Yeah, but yeah.
Oh, that might have been 2 years.
That's our
ago.
bracket challenge. We all also just picked the first round that we believe, but it'll be all interesting whenever it gets to the NBA. This season has been phenomenal. All the storylines in this series have been phenomenal. One last question before we wrap it up. Biggest storyline to watch in the NBA postseason?
Well, I'll go one for each conference. The West, it's Lakers-Rockets. That is my circled series. Whoever comes out of that, I'll be very curious to see how they match up against the Thunder, because I feel like whoever it is, the Thunder will win. The East, it's who makes the first-round statement, because I do not think it's going to be Detroit. It really all just depends on who has that statement series. Whoever has that statement series, in my opinion, will make the NBA Finals.
Yeah, I'm going to go with Nuggets Timberwolves in the West. I think that Anthony Edwards has kind of owned the Nuggets over the past couple of seasons, and just seeing that again in the first round will be really interesting. And then in the East, I think that it's got to be keeping an eye on the Knicks and Celtics, because I think if the Knicks struggle against the Hawks, which they very well could do, and if the Celtics kind of mess around with the 76ers, they could also struggle a little bit. But keeping an eye on those two teams is something I'm going to be looking forward to.
Yeah, mine for the West is going to be the Spurs. I want to see. I mean, obviously they had such a hot end to the season. I want to see, do they kind of just keep flowing into that? Obviously the series starting in San Antonio, or do they kind of slow up because it's the playoffs? I kind of want to see how they transition. This is going to be Victor's first taste of playoff basketball. I want to see what he does and how he kind of transitions from regular season to playoff basketball. And then for the Eastern Conference, kind of same thing as Brayden. I want to see the Knicks and the Celtics, because I feel like those are two teams that could heavily contest. I feel like it's really Pistons, Celtics, Knicks at this point for teams that could make it to the Eastern Conference Finals. No offense to the Cavaliers. I feel like the Pistons are going to beat them. But I agree with both you guys. Keep an eye on the Knicks and the Celtics. And then I agree with you, RJ. Just keep an eye on who makes a statement, really.
Yeah, for me, I'm going to do 2 Western Conference storylines instead, because for the Nuggets side of things, ever since they won the NBA Finals, it's been constant good but not enough. They haven't made it out of the second round. They've lost to the Timberwolves 2 of the 3 years, and the Thunder last year. So can they get over that hump? Can they make it to the conference finals and potentially the finals again? Can This is the team to do it for them, in my opinion. They have so many deep guys, good role players. It's so interesting. And for the Thunder side of things, there's not been an NBA champion that has not made it out of the second round since the lottery receding and the salary cap additions. It's all the way dating back to the Bucks.
Jeez.
That was the last one, and
Wow.
it's been very interesting. Can they do it? Can they be the first repeat champion since the Golden State Warriors in the late 2010s? But that will do it for this playoff special edition, pre-playoff special edition of the Flop Factor. Next week, be sure to tune in. It will be the Flop Awards. We will be naming all of our award winners and also talking about what happened throughout that point of that first round of the NBA playoffs. As always, you can catch us on every single podcast platform, the Flop Factor NBA Podcasts. For myself, Cody Burton, RJ Rice, DJ McDermott, and Brayden Laszlo. Catch us on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, and Amazon. But the Flop Factor ends now.